Okay, so just welcome everybody to the meeting this evening. A reminder that it is a remote meeting and teleconference using Zoom pursuant to 1 MRSA section 403-A. And you can access the meeting agenda and materials related to a specific project by finding the link in the abutter notice or on the homepage of the city's website under public notices at sanfordmaine.org and follow Zoom login directions. And the meeting and password are up on the screen. So welcome to the Sanford Planning Board's July 1st, 2020 meeting. The meeting will come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are offered. Please notify the chair if you are unable to hear or see something. The board works from a prepared agenda and will consider tonight's agenda in the following order. 1, new business 19-20-S, old business file 14-20-R, and old business file 03-19-R. Please know that if any planning board members have potential conflicts of interest of which they are aware, they will disclose the conflict prior to the board initiating a hearing or action on an application. Planning board decisions are based solely on whether an applicant has provided sufficient evidence to meet the requirements of local, state, and federal laws. After the board votes on the merits of each project, it will vote on written findings of fact. Since the findings may substantially affect any appeals rights, and also as a matter of courtesy, the board asks that those attending the meeting not leave until the board has adopted the findings for the project you are interested in. After planning board makes its final decision, any reconsideration by the board must be made at the next regularly scheduled meeting. If anyone wishes to appeal the board's final decision, he or she must do so within 30 days. The city's ordinances and comprehensive plan are available for viewing on the city's website and in the Planning and Development Department office at 919 Main Street and at sanfordmaine.org. So with that, we will move into our agenda, and we do have, I know there's several minutes listed on the agenda here, but
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, we need to do a roll call vote.
Oh, my apologies. I can't believe I missed that. Thank you. Keeping me honest.
Sorry, my dog has decided to bark in the background. I'm not going to be able to do too much about that. Jace?
Present.
Diane?
Present.
Lenny?
Present.
Jack?
Present.
Tom?
Here.
Crystal?
Present.
Madam Chair, that's 7-0. Excuse me, seven members present.
Great, thank you. So we have a quorum, and we will go ahead and proceed. So we do have minutes. May 20th is what was included in the packet. I know there's a few other dates listed, but for the May 20th minutes, are there any revisions that are needed? Or if not, is there a motion? Oh, I don't know if we should pull those up and take a look at who was there.
Right.
Oh, it's on the screen. Thank you. But hope if I looked at my screen.
So Jennifer, Lenny, Jace, John. Say it again, please.
I said motion to accept as written.
Second it, Diane.
Okay, why don't we take a vote then?
Jace?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Lenny?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes.
and Jennifer.
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Okay, thank you. So that does bring us now to new business 19-20-F. I'll hand it over to you, Beth, to orient us to this this agenda item.
So the applicant is requesting an amendment to a minor subdivision. His parcel is 26 Drybrook Drive. The subdivision is the Morrison Road subdivision. What he is proposing to do is to basically construct a swimming pool or place a swimming pool in his backyard. But he doesn't have enough property behind his building, his home, to be able to do that. So he's approached the owner of the adjacent property, Mark and Gina Phillips, who has a parcel that is in a different subdivision. And they have come to an agreement for the Phillips to sell Mr. Boisonneau 75 feet of land, which would allow him to place that swimming pool there. This is not unlike a project that that you approved, or a minor amendment you approved probably about 4 months ago, maybe a little bit earlier, because I think Joe was still with us. As we were going through the review process, we discovered that the driveway had been constructed in a different location than what was approved. And so Jamie Cole brought that to our attention, and he suggested that we could take care of that amendment as part of this amendment as well. My understanding was that the engineer was going to provide a copy of the revised plans to Molly sometime this afternoon. And so I did not have a chance to touch base with Molly to find out if it was submitted after I left the office today. So we probably should ask her that. The alternative, of course, is that it could be a condition of approval and he could bring it in tomorrow. I did want to talk about just one procedural item here. Most subdivisions typically have a signature block for a planning board signature, because then the signed plat has to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Two pieces of information that I became aware of recently. The first is that state law does not require planning board signatures on a subdivision plat, which I was quite surprised about. So I don't know if it's something that was changed, and I just wasn't aware of it. But I have confirmed that actually it was our attorney who brought that to my attention. The local ordinance does require planning board signatures. So when we amend the ordinance in the future, you may want to remove that requirement if you so choose. The other thing that, and the reason I had this conversation with our attorney is one of the board members raised a question about planning board signatures when we're meeting remotely. And and some board members can get in when City Hall is open and some of them can't. And so essentially what our attorney advised us is not every one of the board members has to sign the plat, even if they voted, in favor of the amendment. We just need to have a majority of the board, which would be 4 members. So that's pretty much my update. If Molly could answer that question, then I think that I can then stop talking and pass this off to the applicant to see if he has anything he wants to say to you folks directly. Molly, did you get that revised plan?
Yes, we received a revised plan around noon today, digital and hard copies. I do believe that Mark has the digital copy as well, if he'd like to screen share now.
Yes, I can. Let me see here. Am I assuming you can all see?
Yes, and before you get started, if you wouldn't mind,
Sure.
just for the record, please stating your name and address.
My name is Mark Boissenault. I reside at 26 Drybrook Drive in Springvale.
Thank you.
And as you guys can see, when I was my first looking for my first permits for my pool, and if you kind of see, I'm assuming everybody can see the existing structure that I'm talking about. That's my house right there. I wanted to put it off my back deck, and I did not have enough room to put it with the offsets that needed to the 15 feet in between. So I approached Mr. Phillips, and him and I agreed to allow me to purchase that land that is the proposed area, as you guys can see.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if I guess we'll kind of leave it. Should we do free form or kind of go down in order? Get any thoughts, questions from the planning board?
If you want to do it in order, I'm happy to call off the names.
Unless somebody kind of jumps in with something to start us off. If we don't have any of that, maybe we'll go down in order.
Just going over.
I'm sorry, was that Tom who's trying to?
Yeah, Tom suggested we go in order.
Okay, thank you. I'm having a hard time hearing because my phone is also not cooperating. I'm getting a lot of breaking up. So if I say what, it's just I can't hear very well.
So Jace would be the first, and I guess the point is that if you've got questions, if not, say pass. Questions or comments.
No questions or concerns, so pass.
Diane,
No concerns, pass.
Lenny,
I don't have any questions or concerns. I'll pass.
Jack,
I'll pass.
Tom,
I will pass as well.
Crystal,
I do not have any questions at this time. Thank you.
and Jennifer.
No questions or concerns.
Okay. Sounds
So
like
with that-
a motion for the
Yes. I will go ahead and make a motion, Beth.
Would you like me to read the suggested motion?
Yes, please, because I am not finding it at my fingertips as quickly as I would like to.
So the suggested motion that staff recommends that it would be that the planning board accept the information above and find that application file 19-20-S for a minor amendment to adjust subdivision lot lines at tax map lot R3-12E-5 and R3-12E has satisfied the requirements of section 275-25 of the subdivision ordinance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a second?
Diane, second.
Okay, and we'll do a vote.
Jace,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Lenny,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes.
and Jennifer.
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, and I realized we did not do the findings of fact, so if we could do those next.
Mhm.
This one's going to make you very happy. There's only 2 votes. The combinations for not applicable are 275-10-31 pollution, 275-10-32 sufficient water, 275-10-33 impact on existing water supply, 275-10-34 soil erosion, 275-10-35 traffic conditions, 275-10-36 sewage disposal, 275-10-37 solid waste, 275-10-38 impact on aesthetics, open spaces, historic areas, wildlife habitat, and shoreline access, 275-10-41 impact on water quality and shoreline, 275-10-42 impact on groundwater quality or quantity, 275-10-43 floodplain management, 275-10-44 identification of freshwater wetlands, 275-10-45 stormwater management, 275-10-46 recreation and open spaces, and 275-10-47 phosphorus impacts on great ponds, and 275-10-48 spaghetti lots. In each of those cases, the recommendation is that the standard is not applicable, and the explanation is that the applicant is not proposing any development.
Motion to accept.
Second it,
Tom?
Diane.
Was that Tom and Diane?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Jace,
Yep.
Diane,
Yes.
Lenny,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay. Then the next two are actually, actually, I think they actually do need to be voted on separately. I take that back. So 275-10-39, conformance with other regulations. The recommendation is that the standard has been met. The explanation is that the proposed subdivision meets all minimum dimensional requirements, performance standards, and all other applicable land use regulations outlined in Chapter 275 and 280. Why don't we leave it at Chapter 275? This standard is met.
Motion to accept.
So that was Tom again?
Second it, Diane.
Okay, so Tom and Diane, motion to accept. Jace,
Yep.
Diane,
Yes.
Lenny,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
The next one is 280-10-40, financial and technical capacity. The recommendation is that the standard is met, and the explanation is that the applicant has demonstrated financial and technical capacity to complete the proposed amendment. The standard is met.
Motion to accept.
Second it, Diane.
Okay, Jace,
Yep.
Diane,
Yes.
Lenny,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and that was 7-0.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
So, just to be clear, Mark, we do have to bring in a plan, a plan that's suitable for submission to the Registry of Deeds, and I think your surveyor can take care of this for you. It basically, it looks like the signature block's already on there.
Is that what, right
Okay.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, that's already on there. So essentially, what I will do, or what Molly will probably do tomorrow, is she'll send out an email to the planning board members, asking them to drop by sometime between 8 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. Those are City Hall's open hours, and sign sign the plat, just make sure that the chair gets the top line. And if
So
you
I-
want to call,
I don't have to
Go
bring
ahead.
anything in?
you will have to after we get these signed. But we
Okay,
need this, I think we've got enough right now for the signatures. And then what will happen is that Molly will get back in touch with you once we have adequate signatures, and she'll give you instructions. You're gonna have to take it to the Registry of Deeds and get it recorded and then document the book and title on there, because she'll walk you through that process.
okay,
And I'm sure your surveyor knows how it works as well, because, you know, this is their business. They do this.
okay.
And then what you'll have to do is you'll have to bring us in additional copies. So Molly and I will kind of talk about this stuff in the morning, and then she'll be in touch with you, Mark.
But
In the
you'll
meantime,
give me the
look at
steps
the-
that I need to take?
Yes. And
Okay,
in addition, because I know how anxious you are to get going on this construction project since you've been delayed so long this summer, what we will do tomorrow is we'll send a note over to the Code Enforcement Department to let them know that we're all in process, and the only thing we're waiting for is the signatures and the returned recordings.
okay,
And that may be enough to, to allow him to give you the building permit that you need.
he has already contacted me, last week, so yes.
Perfect. Okay, good. So Molly, you and I will just talk about this in the morning.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
So I think we're done with that item, Madam Chair.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Thanks, you too. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, that brings us to old business file 14-20-R, Sanford Safe Storage. Beth, do you mind giving us a quick update on this one?
Yeah, I would like to make sure that we've got somebody here for representing the applicant, either the Greg Patterson or somebody from Sebago Technics. I'm not seeing anybody. Am I missing something? Molly, have you seen anybody?
No, I have not seen or heard from anyone from Sebago.
Okay, so I guess the board has the choice of either, they certainly were notified. You have the choice of either.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm getting like every other word.
Okay, I said, the applicant was notified that this was going to be on the agenda. Kate, I'm assuming you sent a link to the packet to the applicant's agent when the packet went out on Friday. Molly, is Kate muted? Yes, she is. Could you unmute her, please?
Yeah, I'm asking her to unmute.
You requested to table both this and the next item until the 15th meeting.
Oh,
So they have been
I'm having a
tabled to the
really
next one.
hard.
okay, so it sounds like there may have been some confusion.
If you
My
read
mistake.
the full, yes, because if you read the full description for both of them, it says the planning board tabled further review of this application to the July 15th, 2020 meeting.
Oh, okay. Has to be my mistake then there. So apparently, the applicant did not understand that they needed to be here tonight. So I guess it probably makes sense to just leave this on the table.
Beth,
Madam-
I'm getting a chat from Jennifer saying that she is having a really difficult time hearing because her phone is breaking up every third word.
Madam Director, it's Diane. May I speak?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I heard that. I'm having bad time. I'm sorry.
That's about a couple weeks ago. I remember I said about July 1st, and you said it wasn't enough time, and you had to put it to the 15th. That conversation?
Yeah, actually, that was the conversation around the Pepin review. But somehow there was a miscommunication. I'm going to take the blame for it because I certainly reviewed the agenda and I probably should have crossed out the 5. But that's okay. I think it's fine. We certainly can be in touch with them and tell them that that there was a miscommunication and we'd like to see them on the 15th.
Beth, can I butt in there?
By all means. This is Kate, right?
Yes, sorry. My understanding was that there were things that Stanford Safe Storage needed to get to us, and they couldn't get it to us in time for the meeting on the 1st.
Yeah,
I
and so
thought
that's
that was my understanding.
And you may be perfectly correct there. So in any event, I think this should probably just stay on the table, and we will notify the applicant that it will be heard on the 15th.
Yes.
Do you need a motion for that?
Well, it's on the table now, so probably not. I think you can just move to the next item on the
Okay,
agenda.
so we'll move to the next item on the agenda then. So old business file 03-19-R, R. Pepin and Sons. So there is some information on status and some updates that Beth, I'm hoping you can share with us. And just to clarify for the board, this will stay on the table, and I'm going to ask that nobody please discuss this, but we'll get a quick update. Thanks, Beth.
So after the last meeting, I was approached by the applicant's attorney with a request to leave this item on the table until the August 5th meeting to give them an opportunity to identify and contract with an individual, a qualified individual, I think they referred to an engineer, to review the issue of the over-excavation of slopes and to offer some information. When she and I talked, which was just a few days after the last board meeting, she indicated that she was having trouble getting a response from the engineers she was approaching. Things have been pretty busy. I have not gone back to her to find out since then if she has secured someone. I did bring this to the chair's attention, and based on the chair's direction, she granted that extension to the August 5th meeting. She also made it very clear, and I'm happy to share this email with you folks if you really want to see it. She made it clear that that she's concerned that this review needs to come to a close, that it's been going on for more than a year, including multiple discussions with the Site Plan Review Committee and the Planning Board, and that she would be seeking to take final action on the application at the August 5th meeting. So I was then also contacted by the applicant separately, indicating that he wasn't clear on that he hadn't received formal communication from the planning department about what the planning board was expecting, and therefore could not possibly provide the revised materials in time to meet the deadline, which was June 24th. I was quite surprised about that because he was in attendance of the meetings, and my notes are just notes. They're not the official record. He had been told previously that the meetings were streamed and available online, and that's where he could go to check up on what the board had said. But by the time he contacted me, there clearly was no time for him to get it done. It was less than a week from when the deadline was there. So what I said back, and again, in conversation with Jennifer about this, what I said back to him is that you could have an additional week to prepare that information and submit it. everything except for that one additional report that the attorney indicated they were trying to put their hands on. And so I provided two dates, two deadlines. The first was July 1st, 2020 for all of the rest of the information from the applicant. And the applicant did meet that deadline today. And then we set a date of July 21st for the additional information that they want to provide about the over excavation of slopes. That would give us enough time for staff to be able to review that material specifically and comment. In the meantime, as I said, we did receive the remaining revised materials today, and we will be sending those, the planning department will be sending those out to code enforcement, the assistant city engineer, and the superintendent of the water district to review, along with basically the notes of what you directed the applicant to do, and ask them to primarily focus their review on those topics. So that will give them a time, some time to start digging into this. And as you all know, everybody is jockeying around holidays right now. So I'm anticipating that, we'll get some staff comments back in about normally we give folks about a week. We're going to give them about a week and a half because of the holiday schedules. And then if we find that there are issues still, that will give us enough time to go back to the applicant and say, you missed this, you did this wrong, that sort of thing. We need some additional things here to be able to understand what you're proposing. And that will give the applicant an opportunity to try to resolve those issues in time that you won't end up going to the meeting on the 5th with, hopefully not with a laundry list of additional revisions that need to be made. So basically that's sort of the framework of it. I'll stop at that point, Jennifer.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that will remain on the table, and we'll move to the next item on our agenda, the planning director's report. I don't know if there's anything you want to share, Beth?
Jennifer, you're going to talk about PPI, right?
Am I going to talk about it? I will.
You want me to just remind people you're going to do that?
I can. I just need to pull up the information so I can tell people about it.
It's fine. Everybody should have received an email from Matt Hill alerting you to the next public workshop for the PPI project, which is the transportation assessment project in the downtown area. I believe it's a week from Thursday, so a week from tomorrow. It's going to be another virtual forum. The last one was very well attended for these kinds of meetings. We had over 40 people at it. It was quite interactive. It was pretty entertaining. They did a series of what you would think of as keypad polling, when we were all together. This was a computer polling. They took a lot of comment, and they're going to be presenting their next analysis and their proposal. So an analysis on what was said to them at the last meeting and recommendations that were made, and then some more proposals. And then we'll continue to work on that, and the anticipated end product will be prepared early fall. So I encourage you to participate in that. Let's see what else has been going on. Molly and I have been, Molly, Kate and I have been trying to get caught up on back applications, and I think we've pretty much done that. We were anticipating that things were going to start to calm down a little bit, but just a couple of days ago, we got 4 new applications on the same day. Most of those are staff levels, so it's not going to involve an awful lot of coming back to you except to share what the end result of the review was. And obviously to give you the opportunity to, give us pushback or feedback about, whether we crossed any lines. what we're hoping that was going to do is to create some additional room in our schedule so that we could be working on the comp plan. And we have done little picking away at little things, but every time we have a block of time, as of today, we had a full hour set up to have this conversation. It got sapped away. So I do need to tell you that we were supposed to be making quarterly reports to the city council. That would have had our last quarterly report made in June. There was really not an awful lot to report at that point in time. And so I spoke with the manager about this, and we have delayed the presentation to the city council to their second meeting in July. That will be July 21st. I will certainly make sure that I share the draft, the report that I'm going to present with you. We are making progress, particularly in the mapping side, but it's clearly going a lot slower than we had hoped. The one really neat thing that has happened is that we were able to amend our contract. Diane happened to notice this, and Jennifer noticed this on the council agenda. We amended our contract with the mapping consultant, who's also going to be preparing some models for us to look at two alternative approaches to the future land use plan as we get to that stage of the comp plan. But we also, this new amendment of the contract is allowing us to put some funds that I had not spent in this year's budget into supporting the creation of an online platform that we'll use throughout the comp plan process. It'll be a place where we'll post information and people will be able to download it and comment on it. It's also intended to allow us to create probably what will end up being a blended public forum, anticipating that happening early in the new year. It will take what's been going on with the PPI work sessions and it'll become, it'll get expanded. So what we had proposed for the first forum was a 3-day open house. We'll get into talking about how to do this and when to do it, and when we have the advisory committee meeting, which will happen probably sometime this fall. But the idea is that we would try to replicate what you would physically do at the forum if you actually were there going to this open house, and duplicate it with an online platform. And so people can have the choice of doing one or the other. And this is assuming, of course, that, we continue to open up. We still, right now at this point, I think we have limitations will shortly have limitations of meetings up to 50 people. They will be set up, we're going to have to figure out how to set it up so that they can be, distanced at least 6 feet apart, the different stations. So anyway, that was pretty cool. We're starting to work with IT to figure out how this might work. We're also going to be exploring, pardon me, we're also going to be exploring whether it makes sense to design this platform in such a way that other groups in City Hall can take advantage of the platforms that we're setting up for whatever initiatives they're doing. So one example came up at one point, the Public Works Director was talking about having to modify some street names, which, as you can imagine, is a pretty touchy subject for people when they've lived on a street with that name for some time. But we've got lots of streets whose names are just way too close to each other and violate the 911 numbering system and addressing system. And so one of the things the manager was asking the Public Works Director to do was, in the course of doing this, to reach out to the people who were potentially impacted by it. And we're thinking that this platform might actually help us do stuff like that and be much more accessible to the general public. As always, whenever you do anything online, you have to provide an alternative option for folks who are not going to be able to access online. So I think that's pretty much it. If you really wanted me to, I could dig for more, but it's been a bit of a whirlwind the last few weeks as we've been reopening the office. But I think things are starting to settle in, and my report to the city manager last week was that the office had stabilized, and as part of that stabilization, specifically associated with managing development application permits, that was beginning to open up some space on all three of our schedules to be able to start looking at things like the comp plan, the brownfields program, and so the hope is that we'll actually make some substantial progress in those areas, as well as continuing to be able to, manage the general work of the department. I think that's pretty much it. I'm babbling. I'll stop.
Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome.
Okay. So we'll move to communications then. I don't know if anybody has any communications that they would like to bring up.
This is Diane.
Yeah, go ahead, Diane.
I'm sorry, did I just walk over someone?
No.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's just something I observed. Maybe Beth can help with this. Not like she has a lot to do. Can you take the PPI that's in the Department of Public Works and also put it up on the home page under public notices? It's not there. It's buried. You can't find it. You can't get people to weigh in if they got to search for stuff.
Yep. I know we just put it on the website, or I just gave the instructions to put it on the website. Matt has got hard copies of things up on the Mainers window. I think. But I will see if we can get a little more prominence on the public notices page.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if you want people to weigh in,
Yep.
My other communication I wanted to ask the chair, I sent you an email about the mills. Do you want to talk about that or no?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Diane. Yeah, why don't you?
Okay. After we had a discussion a few meetings back, I asked Jennifer in an email, had she ever been in any of the mills at all? And other than Mill 67, the old restaurant. And I said, if we're talking about stuff, would it be a good idea to actually see what the heck we're talking about sometimes? I know with COVID, there might be some issues with that, but my idea was if we have to talk about the mills and certain things, when it is safe and when we get permission, if we could go on some type of a maybe social distancing site walk and see stuff, especially at 61 Washington Street.
Which one is that one?
Where the Mill 67 was.
Okay, so Sanford Mill. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I just called by its name. You were asking questions, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, I remember seeing that. But then when I asked Jennifer, she was like, well, I've only been in the restaurant. I haven't seen the rest of it. And I'm wondering how many other people on the board haven't even seen these things. And that was my suggestion, if it's all possible in the future.
Okay, I'll see what I can do to arrange something. We do have to think about this whole social distancing thing. Clearly, it would end up being, my guess is that it would likely be during the day, but I guess it could be done in the early evening, given how light it is out these days. So I'll try to work on that a little bit.
Yeah, it was, obviously it's subject to the mill owners saying, yeah, okay, no problem. Yeah. But, and it's not just that one. It may be other ones when we're available and able to take a spin through them and take a look.
Yep. I can tell you, we're not taking you through Stenton. It's a placarded building, and it's not safe as in its current condition. Whether or not we could do a tour of the International Woolen, or at least a portion of that, because that's a big building, could take a long time to tour that one. That might be something that we can also work on coming up.
Well, I understand with Stenton, and you know, I'm not pushing that because you know, I've heard certain things and seen certain things too in pictures. So obviously it's dangerous. So it was a suggestion that I came up with. I ran it by the chair. She thought, why not? And when it's available to do so and we can do it safely, I thought, why not? That is all. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Chair, there is something else that I'm glad you made this comment, Diane, about the tour, because there's something else that occurred yesterday that I forgot to mention to you, if it's okay that I could add that now. The fire marshal has asked, thank you. The fire marshal has asked me if the planning board would like to go on a tour on one of the fire trucks. And I think that his intent, and again, we talked about issues like social distancing, and maybe it's going to have to be in 2 groups and that sort of thing. But he's very interested in showing you what it's like to be in a fire truck and trying to negotiate some of the developments. So he wants to, take you into some parking lots and that sort of thing, and show you the turning radius and that sort of thing. He also has an interest in taking you down some streets and realizing what some of the conflicts that we're always trying to balance between his need to get past trees without breaking them, smashing them, damaging the truck, but that recognizing that the city is interested in improving the aesthetics by planting trees. And so, he would just as soon not plant any in the Esplanade. And I suggested that maybe there's another option besides all or nothing. But building some sensitivity through your own experience of being in in the vehicle and seeing what it's like when you're trying to negotiate some of the stuff, particularly in an emergency situation, where you don't have an awful lot of time. So I guess the question is, does this seem interesting to you? I thought you guys would you'd be pretty excited about it, to say the truth.
Will he let us drive? Will he let us drive?
Can we take one with the
Can we
ladder
turn
and
the
climb up the
siren
ladder
on
too?
You even get your own little red hat. I'm going to go buy some of the plastic ones at the dollar store for you guys.
I think I might have several years collections from both of my kids that we might have enough for all of us between them all.
I'm not sure when this could happen, but does it sound like something you'd like to do to help build your comprehension of how your decisions impact the physical landscape?
I know,
it'd be
I
nice to see
definitely
what
would.
a WB50 turning radius is.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I'll tell him yes, and we'll just keep talking about when it may make sense to do that. He knows it probably isn't going to happen immediately, and obviously we've got to get past the social distancing thing. But, now that I know that you're interested, I can start talking with him about what the logistics might be. And that will help us figure out, whether we can do it all together or we have to break it into 2 groups or 3 groups. And then we can start laying out the sort of things he wants to show you so that we get a sense of how long it might take to do it. And at that point, once we have things framed up a little bit, then I would come back to you and start talking with you about dates.
Okay.
That sounds
Great.
good.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Let's send Beth up the ladder first.
I'm not sitting in that truck in the front. I'm going to be in the back.
It's fun.
So work with Patrick. I know there was something else I wanted to tell you, but I can't remember what it was, so I'm just going to stop.
Okay. The only other thing I will add to communications, Jace, I know you're having some challenges with your email. I don't know if it would be easier for you to confirm a day and time. That would be good to have the IT guy call you, or if you want to just reach out to him directly.
I can just reach out to him
Better for you.
directly.
Okay. Okay. Do you need his information right now, or how should we get that to you? Do you have it?
How about I just text you after the meeting? Will that work?
Okay.
Okay. So if you
Madam-
need phone numbers or email addresses, Jace, Jennifer will let me know, and I'll get those back to you, probably through a text again.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Great.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
do you want to talk to the board about that little email stint that you and I had the other night?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, and Lenny was lucky enough to get one as well. So apparently somebody is impersonating me and sent an email to Diane and Lenny. I don't know if anyone else has received them,
Yes,
saying
I
it's
got
from
one
me.
too.
I
Good to
did as
know.
well.
Asking
This
for
is
help.
Crystal.
Okay.
Yeah, I
It's not me,
Well, I guess-
so just block the email, please.
So this is going on not just with Jennifer's email, because I got one from what looked like one of our consultants, but it was a little bit odd, and so I didn't open it, and I contacted IT, and they checked it out, and sure enough, it's the same sort of thing that's going on with Jennifer. So essentially what they do is they're getting really good. This one, you couldn't even tell usually you can tell when they've got an attachment. You look at the name of it and the return address and stuff, and you can see that it's a little bogus. This one was really, really good. And essentially what happened is that you open it up, and it then redirects you to this other website, and then you're caught. So I'm going to make an offer to you guys. IT has sent this out to, and you may have received this in the last 2 weeks. So after this happened that I got this, I suggested to IT that they send out another reminder to staff about this great online training program to help people recognize when you're being spammed and people are trying to hack you, and there's like 5 different categories of how they can go after you. And after the last time we had a rash of this in City Hall, I actually took the time, and there's like something like 12 different modules, or maybe a few less than that. And they some of them are like 5 minutes long, and others are, like 7 minutes long, but they're all very, very brief. And that's basically what got me to recognize that there was something fishy about this outreach to me. So if you are interested, I will find that email and forward it to everybody. And I strongly encourage you to check it out. Some of you work in environments where this, is a big deal already, and you've probably done multiple trainings like this. But for some of the rest of you, you don't have typically access to that kind of support network, and this would be a great thing to take a look at. And you can pick and choose. You don't have to do all of them. I just found it was like, it's like a computer game. You just went to the next level.
Maybe just send that to everybody, so everybody has it in
Okay.
case they want to check it out.
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, anything else? Do I need to make a motion, or is someone going to beat
Yeah,
me
there
to
should
it?
be a motion.
I will go ahead and motion that we adjourn.
Second it, Diane.
Okay. Jace?
Yep.
Diane?
Yes.
Lenny?
Yes?
Jack?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes, please.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay, that's 7-0.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Have a good weekend. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of
Happy
July.
4th.